I do that.
No. Okay, it's March 11th at 3:04. I call to order the workshop in regards to the employee handbook of City of Sumter. Everybody was provided a copy to review. I guess we'll just go through page by page, and this handbook came from CIS, and it was back in 2015. A few things were changed that were definitely for Sumter, where some of it was not applying to anything in Sumter. Hey, Marcia, Charlie,
Yes.
where do you want to start? We're going to say page.
Well,
Page one is the introduction.
I don't have too many markings except for towards the middle and back.
Okay. I have no markings on the introduction on page one.
I don't either.
You want to start on page
Well, page two is continue the introductions.
page 3 is the same.
Item two, I tagged this only because it is stated about the harassment stuff, but I had no changes on it.
I do know on the CIS though, we need to go through according to them and take out he and she. Need to be making not gender
Okay,
specific.
well, so we can make a note to go through the whole thing and do gender.
Yeah, non-gender specific.
So you need to make he and she needs to become non-gender specific. They or them, yeah.
Not he or she.
We're on page two. Okay, I had nothing on page three for under sexual harassment and other forms of it. Just said what harassment is, bullying is. Page four says complaint procedure, investigative procedure, and protection. Nothing there. Page five, section 3, disability accommodations. It just sets, sets out the procedures. Employment policies. It came up on applications. Then page 6. It says here, and I think I brought this up in 2017. It talks about doing criminal background investigations. I don't know that we have access to running down and doing criminal background investigations. I've never seen a form, and that's not something that the sheriff's just going to automatically do for us. And if we are going to, we need to have releases.
So that would include the sending them down to be, I had to do it constantly at the post office every time
For fingerprinting?
I went down.
We
here to
sent you down for
fingerprint.
fingerprinting. No. Send somebody down for fingerprinting. But I mean, I don't know if we're set up, we need to check. I don't know if we're set up with the sheriff's office to do that.
Where'd you go?
I went down to the sheriff's office and I said, I was sent down to be fingerprinted for the USPS job, and they fingerprinted me. I don't know who, I'm sure they coordinated it. I just went down.
Pay the bill.
Well, see, and that's through the USPS. That's what I say, as a city, a municipal city,
Yeah.
I do not know that we have a contract with the sheriff's. So, to do this. I mean, you just
The
can't,
contract that we have with the sheriff's department, then you don't think we cover that?
I don't know. That's what I say. I have never seen, there should be a form that the applicant gives you a release to have a criminal background done and have their fingerprints taken. So that's something we need to check on.
I never signed anything. I was just sitting down, came back.
And they must, well, since USPS is different.
Well, it's not federal either.
Yeah.
It's on community.
So I
People
think
think
this
it's-
section, I guess, next time I go over to town, I will go in there if they actually open the lobby again.
Well, what you could do maybe is, until then, so that we can finish this at some point, the city of Sumter at future times or as such times as they want, will conduct it. You can put that in there.
Well, how come we just don't leave it where,
Because it's saying that we're
Well,
doing it, but we can
it
put in
says-
a clause that we could possibly ask you to do.
We're not voting on anything today, but if we can do it through the city, through the county, then there's nothing in there that needs to be changed. That's the key. We don't have anything in that criminal background investigations. We don't have anything in it we want to change. We just want to make sure that we can do it legally, right? Because if we can't do it legally and it's out of our range, then we can just eliminate that phase.
We just need to be sure that we can send them down there and do it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but we're not actually physically changing this.
Some small agencies.
Well, we're not doing it.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
So
Well,
why is it here?
Well, the thing is, you may want to leave it in there so we can do it.
Well,
And for the future, because like I said, because this thing here is just guidelines. Does it, if you got somebody who, and you want to do a
we
background
can't
check.
discriminate this down here if you have a record.
How about if you put the city of Sumter, comma, may conduct?
Yeah, that would be better.
So we're going to add an A?
May take out a will.
Take out a will and may conduct criminal investigation applicants after conditional application offer and after having obtained a written and signed authorization to conduct a criminal background check. So, and I will, when I go down Tuesday, I will swing into the sheriff's office and ask him. The city of Sumter will not discriminate or disqualify applicants because of past criminal history. It will be on a case basis. So I will check on that.
Anything about religion?
No,
No,
there was something here.
you were determined.
Complaint, CUC. Oh,
Where are you at now?
on page 7,
Oh,
actually brought to the city council by the submission of a complaint form. City council issue. I think that was just my note. It looks okay. Marcia, did you have anything on this page 7? Is it the at-will employment and probation period? You just tell us about the steps. And page 9 is more employment. On the on-call, it does address on-call. That's it. It only addresses on-call for temporary part-time employees. It says on-call, an employee who does not have a set schedule and works only when called upon. Generally, on-call employees will not work more than 599 hours during the calendar year and is not eligible for benefits. So that's the only thing is addressed there on call, and that's 75 days.
But that does not specify, like our main.
because they're full time.
It's full-time. This is for temporary part-time and a temporary full-time employees clause here.
Only when called upon.
Yeah, only when called on.
So that is good.
Yeah, that should be good. So I think I addressed the on-call in here farther in. Page 10. Okay, this is our.
I got business, on business hours though.
There is one somewhere, which I'm not sure where it is because I'm slow.
Yeah.
But I think because remember, we ended up having, the law got changed where we used to have our guys on salary.
Yeah, they're not exempt.
They're not, now that they can't be on salary because you gotta have more than 2 or 3 people working underneath you before you can be put back on salary. So I don't know where that is in this handbook, but that needs
Well,
to be changed.
they're on
You have it,
exempt and non-exempt. It tells you what the difference is.
okay.
The non-exempt employee is an employee who's paid an hourly wage, is not qualified as an exempt employee, and will be paid overtime compensation in accordance with the applicable laws.
Okay.
Renee, I have that CIS handbook here on the iPad. You didn't print one out, did you?
Want me to?
No, it's fine. I got it here. I just want to kind of document that I'm looking at the CIS handbook and not anything else.
I'm on page 10, number 9. It says business hours and they have set hours.
Yeah.
I think because we make it flexible for summer and winter. Because like we changed from 9 to 4? Renee, is it winter time? Renee, 9 to 4 is what you, okay. We
Well,
want to word that
That's
differently.
that's 9 to 4 for Renee and 8 to 5 for Renee, but the thing is though is for the guys, they need to be flexible as well because
Yeah.
they don't go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning in the summertime.
Right.
And they do the same thing in the wintertime as well when they got to cross snow. But they don't get out of bed very early when they come to check water on Sunday.
Well, I think in this, where it says it, well, I don't know if we want to change it. I read, this for me reads mainly for the office. It's open 8 to 5 Mondays through Friday. Do we want to put in there?
Yeah, well, it's, yeah,
I
business.
don't know quite how the flexible hours to equal 8 hours a day.
I would think that if you took from 8 to the 5 p.m. and just put in flexible hours, 8 hours a day.
Up to and from.
Well, I wouldn't put to and from, I would just say put flexible hours. That results in 8-hour day.
Yeah, okay.
Because it goes
So do
on
you
down
even
the
need
wall,
that
because it says a
person?
full-time employee only work
What's
days
it-
8
that's-
hours per
okay.
day.
Let's see, the city of Sumter.
Do you even need the person?
Yeah, the city of Sumter's regular, it's just the regular business hours.
So if you just took that
If you took
first
it-
sentence out and
Because
just
the
said
second
a regular
sentence-
full-time employee normally works an 8-hour day,
Or just leave out the whole sentence.
then you're not stuck.
Yeah, because the employee works at a city will establish employee work schedules. Employee work schedules may vary due to circumstances including, and it gives all the reasons why.
So under the business hours, if you take that sentence out, is that what we're thinking?
So,
And where it would start as a
Or you-
regular full-time employee's normal work day is 8 hours per day.
that,
And then we gotta change that from
that
his and
includes,
hers.
all employees that way.
Well, or you just say a regular full-time employee's normal
Normal
work day is 8 hours per day and and their normal work week is 40 hours. We have to take his and her out. We could take that first where it sets the time out.
Mhm.
And just for business hours, show that it's, it's gonna be 8 hours. And that leaves you open to how you're doing is posting. Does that work?
Yeah, regular full-time employee works an 8-hour day.
Okay. So
And take his and her out. Put there. I'll have to go through that for him.
Changes to, okay. Oh, and then under pay period and payday, I think our paydays are different. It's, okay, it should read, the city has 2 paydays per month, the 5th.
Second.
and 20th. And the 20th.
So it's the 5th and the 20th, correct?
20th of the month. The city has 2 paydays per month, Con, the 5th and the 20th of the month. And if the paydays fall on weekends, it's before or after how that works.
So we'll take the 15 out and the last day of the month.
Yeah, the 5th, you put the 5th in there, and yeah, the last day will be the 20th there. Okay, this is the one.
Does the rest of that, is that
Yeah.
right? If it falls on a holiday?
Yeah.
We'll just what we
Yeah.
issued at the last day of work.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's.
And immediately pending a weekend or holiday.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, then if you go flip over to page 11,
Oh, I've
This
got
one-
authorization for
this, under compensation, we do need to talk, this is where we needed to talk to Rob, because this is, competitive wages, the city council will review salaries annually, and based on the budget, will strive to, salary adjustments may or may not be granted at the time of performance evaluations for promotions are given there, and given there, like pay raises. Pay raises are made at the discretion of the city council. That needs to be taken out. I think we need to word that differently, because if I don't like you, I'm not going to give you a pay raise. We need to have a step salaries, that they yearly go up a certain step to keep up with cost of living.
So this is something that probably should be taken in front of.
Well, Rob had talked about it, he made some suggestions, and for this meeting, because he is knee-deep in taxes.
Yeah.
But I think there's a more fair and easy to get pay grades. I mean, I think the federal and the state, I know the federal does, the state, they use pay steps. And unless you have a totally negative review, you get your step. And they're small.
I like the steps.
And they're small increases, they aren't, but I mean, it's still, it's a slow, it's a slow.
So you want to take out we just kind of want to reword this.
Well,
Because we still should have it to where it says, salary adjustments may or may not be granted at the time of performance of an evaluation or promotions are given. There are no automatic pay raises.
but that's what I'm saying, we're
That's
trying.
the part that you want to fix.
Right, because we need to fix that and come up, there's a formula, and come up with a pay increase. Because most larger, most businesses, they at least get a cost of living. And I just think it's more fair. But we need to talk to Rob. So this part will have to be tabled.
Yeah, there's a lot of cities
Mhm.
that have anywhere between 3 and 5% cost of
Yeah,
living.
yeah.
And then that's the ladder.
Yeah,
But then if council chose, they could also then give a step on
Right.
top of the cost of
yeah.
living.
So it's a
But if
COLA,
not, right, but it's a
COLA
COLA.
slash
Yeah.
step increase.
You can give a merit step.
Yes.
Because that's what we used to do, when we did our employee reviews. If we had somebody that was doing exceptional or doing more than needed, we could go ahead and give them a merit increase.
Yeah.
So it doesn't stop us from giving a bigger increase, but it just makes so the employee knows that next year I'm gonna get a 3 or 5% step.
Automatically.
Yeah.
So are we gonna put that in there, COLA slash step increase, or talk to Rob and then?
Does that have it?
I was trying to go through their, some of it's kind of like missing. When I try to hit on payroll policies, it doesn't, it just tells me the page. Yeah, it doesn't take me to, oh, here's the page.
Should this, but.
Never mind, I'm hunting.
If you go back.
I can't get the
further,
page.
where it says the city council will review salaries on an annual,
Mhm.
should that salaries be changed to wages?
Yes. Well, see, I took that whole thing out. I went down to see the city can also reduce their salaries, wages. Yeah.
Right, because boys ain't on salary, they're on wages.
But the thing is, if we go to a COLA slash step pay, it will be budgeted in all, well, we can leave that, the city council, the city based on the budget and financial forecast. Because basically, Rob, I think, has suggested a 3 to 5% COLA and or step increase in wages will be budgeted for all employees. So that means we would be putting that in our budget every year. Merit step increases.
Read that whole thing, what you plan on.
I just scribbling. I put 3 to 5% COLA / step increases in, okay, step increases in wages will be budgeted for all employees. Because we have to put that in our budget.
Oh, that's right. Are we going to address the pay scale?
Well, that's what we need to, and then I'd also put in there, city council has the authority.
Well, that pay scale could go up as the years progress,
Yeah.
just because everything else is.
City council has the authority to,
Are you printing it?
let's see, city council has the authority
I'll
to
get rid of that.
make merit step increases.
Okay.
See, that was where the city would,
The thing is though, isn't this covered under the first part of this under compensation? Where it says the city of Sumter strives and hires and retains the highest quality of employees to successfully achieve its vision and mission. So that, and then the city works, maintains, whatever that word is, wages within the community. Because it's right here with experience and education. So right there, that phrase that's in that says that we're entitled to wage them up.
but I guess what I'm trying to set this up so it's a standard for everybody. So they will get their increases every year. They're automatically. This is the thing, automatically. We don't have to sit and decide, we're gonna give you $1,000 and we're gonna give you $5. I mean, this is standardizing it. And then,
So 3 to 5% is what you're saying should be.
well, I think that's what Rob said.
Okay.
Are you going to take out that salary adjustments may or may not be granted at the time of
Yes.
performance evaluation?
Yes, I took all that from that on, I took out. But I also want so that employees know that the city, if you're doing an exceptional job on something, the city council has the right to give a merit step increase.
Okay.
So you just put that in there?
I just added city council has the authority to make merit step increases. Because I don't want to limit it, so down the road, 15 years from now, they want to make an increase, and we haven't said anything about it.
You
So
know,
do you just say that it's an optional merit step increase?
no, that we have the.
I'm just giving us the authority. See, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to budget, we have to get a job, and we're gonna figure out, here's our base rate, here's our step. And then we do that, then they get this 3 to 5% increase. But if we decide that's not enough because they've been doing, an exceptional job, we can go ahead and vote on even increasing that salary.
Well,
That's called a merit, we used to call it a
for
merit
instance,
step.
it would be like Ken that he's doing because he's bettering himself.
Right.
And Renee's doing the same thing by bettering herself.
So I mean, this was just kind of the guideline, so, like I say, 10 years from now, somebody says, well, how do we give them more money? This is how we do it. And this is just off the top.
Well, the nice thing about doing the step increase is because if you make that automated, then when you have the council that sits up here and says you don't deserve a raise, that's too bad.
That's what we're getting away from, and I mean, that's why the federal's been doing it for years, because you still have to have your review, but unless you're not doing your job at all, you will at least get some kind of increase, because we all know everything else goes up. Unless you're retired, then you don't get much.
Yeah.
So, I'll just text Rob and tell him at some point when he has time, or he can shoot me the information if he has time to type it up. You guys okay with that?
Mhm. So the CIS has quite a lengthy little thing on here.
Okay, what does it say?
All organization employees will receive periodic performance reviews. Reviews serve as one factor in decisions related to the employment, training, merit, pay increases, job assignments, etc., promotions, retention.
That's kind of about the same.
Reviews, yeah. I'm not seeing anything. Oh, this is vacation. I'm gonna leave that out.
Yeah, because we addressed in here down farther, there was about.
Yeah, we've got that employee leave, the sick leave, I'll leave that one out. I'm not seeing anything directly related to, free floating holiday, I'll leave that one out.
Okay, so do we want to get more input from Rob on this before we go too much farther on this?
I would think so.
Yeah, I like the 3 to 5% COLA step increase in wages, but we also need to have, a pay scale.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, we need to get a pay scale, whatever our base rate, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's because your step increases will come off that pay scale,
Yes,
yeah.
well, would you have to have a higher start, and they usually have a low, high, depending on
Yeah. So,
training.
okay, so I'm marking this as something that we need to, I'll email Rob. And then,
I've got the authorization for overtime down on mine.
okay, what did you,
We never did, well, they have to go through people to get the overtime, but because of the past problems, we were gonna have them sign something that Paige said that, so we didn't get back, into our past problems where
what Paige wants to do?
where they had worked a lot of overtime that wasn't run through council, run through anybody, they just worked the
See,
overtime.
the thing is though, I think that was under the compensation, because that's because people were on salary. And then they just kept working and they never took any time off. And they ended up with their overtime is what happened. Because the way this is right here for what we're doing, because other than Renee being on salary, but other than that, the guys are on hourly wages. So if they work over 40 hours a week, they get paid for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're
automatically paid now.
But we also.
There's no.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, I haven't heard of anything up here where if you work over 80 hours, what is it? No, I think it's 70 hours a week before you go to double time. Then I don't know how that plays into order.
Were we going to implement, or we talked about it, that if they put 2 or 3 hours of overtime in, that they worked over, that was comp time that they were to take sometime in that pay period or that week? I know it was brought up once.
We were discussing that.
Well, the thing, where that,
another big old.
because that's the way it was on salary. For that being that way, but being on hourly wage, it's going to be up to the city council or the liaison to come up and tell council saying that, we got to do something because our employees they're working 50, 60 hour weeks. It's one thing to have it every now and then, but if you have it full time, you're working, that's 10 hours a month or a week that you're getting overtime on. Something's got to change.
But we already have a salaried employee, so we need to address salaried employees on their overtime.
See, and
we
when
need
it comes,
to address, you're exempt, because in non-exempt, it says that you will pay them overtime.
Yes, but we have an exempt employee.
The exempt employees, I thought you were talking about the other guys. Yeah, the exempt employees, we need to address. So here, the exempt employees, this side, that least equals the main side. Please consider. What page, consider.
I don't see anything. Oh, here we go.
Is there anything in CIS on there?
This is, it's just addressing on the next one, the timekeeping requirements.
Sorry.
Family medical.
So what we need to add in here on exempt employees, what they do as far as overtime.
And that's not that way here.
No, it doesn't really address it. It's always been a problem. It just says, it doesn't really, because it doesn't really say what, because it definitely says you compensate the non-exempt.
So that is.
So,
Because if I'm, see, and that's one of the things that we try to do is try to keep our meetings within the time frame of the
yeah,
work
we can't
event,
do that.
but it doesn't work that way. So therefore, actually, to make it right, but I'm not, I thought there was a place in here where it says that an employee works 40 hours a week, but they can work up to, I thought it said 50.
50, yeah, it did say in here, but I'm not sure what it was under. But it did not address the,
But other than that, the thing is, goes, I would think that that would be part of the ordeal, where if you worked over 40 hours, you should be able to take
oh, this is.
and leave early or do something.
Yeah.
But here it's hard to do in one direction because of, we only have one person leaving off.
Well, that's where you get into the comp time.
Well, they do have comp time here.
Yeah.
Overtime hours can be paid or at the employee's option with organization approval, accumulated at time and 1/2 up to a maximum of 40 hours and taken as comp time. Employees are encouraged to work with their manager, supervisor to schedule and use comp time within 60 days of when it is procured. At the discretion of an employee's manager, supervisor, employees who have procured less than 40 comp time. Comp time at the time the employee leaves the job is paid to them. But they're not saying anything about exempt employees.
Well, and I mean, that's where we just need to add it in, what we're going to do for. This is all vacation time. There's nowhere in this manual that addresses anything about comp time that I saw.
Yeah, it's in it. A lot of this, what we have is in here.
Yeah, it's what, yeah.
Yeah.
Where does ours say anything about comp time?
Ours doesn't.
That's what I'm saying, we
Yeah.
need, because so on page 9 and 10, see, page 10, it addresses the non-exempt employee that will be compensated for overtime. So we need to put probably under exempt employee, the salary that at least equals under I guess that's where you would put in that some kind of comp time clause. So it would be employee, oops.
So it would still would be under the authorization for overtime is where you're gonna stay, but you're gonna add,
I'm on
you're gonna
page,
do it in the exempt employee though.
well, what I was doing on page 10, where we say an exempt employee Qualified executive, administrative, professional, qualified is paid a salary that at least equals the minimum considered an exempt point. He or she will be informed of his classification. And then,
Oh, that's on 9.
an exempt employee may be credited comp time for the portfolios.
And you're putting that on 10 under the exempt?
Yeah.
What's the applicable law though? That's what it said. It says an exempt employee.
That's non-exempt.
No. An exempt employee who holds
Yeah.
all those administrative qualifications.
Pages
At least
17.
equals the minimum
Yeah.
salary requirements under applicable law. So what's applicable law?
Well,
What
no,
did they
that
say?
has nothing to do
Minimum
with
wage.
minimum wage. But we're talking about if we go over 40 hours, you know.
Right.
So, all an exempt employee may be credited comp time for do you want it over 8-hour days or do you want it over 40-hour weeks?
40-hour week. Because that's how you would be paid on your overtime anyway.
Okay, yeah. Exempt employee may be credited comp time for excess of 40 hours a week.
So that means for every hour of overtime, they get an hour of comp time?
Yeah, if you work 2 hours over, you get 2 hours of comp time.
So when,
To be utilized.
within a 30-day period or 60?
I'd say 60. 'cause,
I
you
think
know,
Rob is gonna say in that pay period.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's mentioned that.
Okay, within the pay period earned,
Within the current pay period.
within the current pay period, okay.
Okay, so now I have to ask the question because I'm a dumbass, okay? So
On
that,
camera.
no, I don't care. But the thing is though, is, more like Renee, she works on Saturday.
Yeah.
So therefore, she works overtime.
Mhm.
She gets 2 hours.
Yeah.
So she's basically gonna just, she doesn't get paid her overtime, is that what it is? So we're still gonna just pay her the time and a half?
No, she just gets 8 hours, she gets 8 hours, she gets equal time,
Right.
yeah. You know, she doesn't get paid overtime.
Well, oh, okay.
She's an exempt, she doesn't
Okay,
get.
see, I told you
Yeah,
I was.
well, that's why, yeah, I know it's gonna be, that's why we're going with the comp time, because she doesn't qualify for overtime, so this way, when she's here until 7 o'clock, she can, then, you know, maybe the next Friday, if there's nothing going on, but it's something that she does, she takes it under approval.
She takes it under approval when she does it within that pay period.
Well, then that needs to be put in there too.
Budget, maybe credited comp time
Then I ask that question.
for,
Renee, now you are documenting on your pay slip the times you overtime, you know, council meeting, that type of thing.
all exempt employees may be credited comp
She
time.
has every single time it's signed a comp report.
Under supervisor approval, supervisor/council approval?
Yes, supervisor slash, because everywhere it says mayor here, you know. So I put all exempt employees may be credited comp time for excess of 40-hour week to be utilized within the current pay period.
And approved.
Yeah, the current pay period.
And we're just gonna put in there by a counselor
Yeah,
or on the liaison.
okay, just all exempt.
Well, supervisor is liaison.
Maybe.
Well, the thing is, the reason why I'm asking is because it's one that's gone. And because I've been looking at things and she wants to take Friday off.
Well, you're a supervisor. She's a supervisor, you're a supervisor.
Fine.
So how do you want that to read, that part?
I'm jotted, an exempt employee may be credited comp time if over 40 hours a week to be utilized within current pay period. Approved by supervisor / council, or if approved or under approval.
Approved by supervisor / who's like reading this?
Well, the thing is though, if you're going to just say supervisor, that's fine. If there's more than one of us. But if you say
okay,
counselor,
okay,
because it's gotta be somebody who signs.
Okay, so take
She's
off
not-
council then.
She's not a signer.
Approved, okay, current pay period, approved by supervisor,
Then I had worded a little different, under supervisor approval.
under supervisor.
But yeah, however.
What was it, approved by?
I just have and utilized within the current pay period and approved by supervisor.
Okay, pay period. I like that, and approved by supervisor. Okay. Does that work for all of us?
Yep.
Because that just means that she just can't willy-nilly say, I ain't gonna show up for work today.
Right, we approve it, and yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Okay. So back to page 11. Let's see.
So now you were on overtime is
Right,
where we
no
were.
overtime may be required, unless we authorize, let's see. So did you, you said Paige was giving us a form or something about overtime? Or she said how to handle
Well,
this?
it was brought up at one of the meetings, or it was brought up somewhere, and I remember discussing it and saying it was getting to Paige that Jeff and Tim needed to sign something about their overtime hours, and I only got part of the
Well,
conversation.
we're
I
tracking.
think on-call hours.
On call, excuse me, on
That's-
call
That was the
hours.
thing,
Yeah.
okay, under authorization of overtime,
Yeah, that was on call, thank you.
we need to put a new paragraph in here that our exempt, or non-exempt employees are not on mandatory on-call
Maybe that was more of
for
what I was
after
saying.
hours, holidays, or weekends. Because that's where, that was.
That's where we.
That's where I was thinking, yeah, or not exempt, okay. You gotta be more specific at any time, or are not required to be on call at any time.
I just says non-exempt employees are not on call at any time.
I put non-exempt employees are not on mandatory
Mandatory. that's-
on-call for after hours, holidays, and weekends. Because that was the issue that they were,
No, that's what I was thinking, I'm sorry.
So it's not mandatory that you're on call.
yeah.
Because, and that's like I explained it, I was talking to Greg this morning about some of this, and I asked him, I says, well, the on-call thing is a big deal, but we shouldn't even have to worry about on-call because we have somebody who answers calls on the weekend and after hours, which would be Marcia. So that it's not like it has to go to them because it'll be up to her. She can call Jeff or she can call Tim.
Yeah,
And if they're not drinking or whatever, if they can show up to work on the system, then.
but what this clarifies is you don't have to be there this weekend, just in case.
Yeah, it's not,
I
if
mean,
it's there, then
they are free to go, and then if we have a crisis, call somebody. So, does that work for you guys?
yes.
Okay, so that was page 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, I didn't scribble on anything.
No, I don't have nothing.
Did you scribble on anything?
So this here ordeal where it says paid hours, not actually worked.
Where are you at now?
Right now where it says paid on overtime.
Give us a page.
Yeah, give us a page.
We're on 11.
Oh, I moved on.
Oh, we're on.
I said I moved on. Okay.
Well, the thing is,
Oh, limitation on overpay?
yeah, because this year's for vacation holiday will not be counted towards a 40-hour week.
No, it's not. So if you have a holiday on Wednesday, you're paid 8 hours, but you didn't work. But if you happen to work overtime that week, because you didn't physically work the 40 hours, you don't get paid time and a half.
Yeah, you do. What that says. It says paid hours not actually worked. For example, vacations and holidays, etc. will not be counted towards a 40-hour week, which means that.
Required to receive overtime.
Yeah.
So if they work 2 hours overtime, they're not gonna get the overtime because they didn't work the 40 hours.
They would have to work 48 hours in that week in order to get
Overtime.
The overtime.
But the thing is, what I'm saying though is if they took say they take Wednesday off and they work on Saturday, so they're going to get overtime.
No,
No.
Because
no,
it does not count as that?
no, because it's a holiday.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So there's 8 hours, because of the holiday, 8 hours in that week does
What
not
you gonna
count.
do?
Okay, now I'm on 12 and 13, which I had nothing.
No, I'm good on all of those.
Under performance evaluations and general office policies.
I don't even think I'm up to 22.
Yeah,
before I-
14 and 15 is office policies. 15, reimbursement, oh. So under expense reimbursement, we aren't actually using a reimbursement form, I don't believe,
Uh,
are we?
Tim,
There's no form.
Because it's.
You guys just approve it in the council
Okay.
meeting.
So this is what approved out-of-pocket expenses will be reimbursed after the employee submits a signed reimbursement request form. So we need to get rid of that sentence then.
no, because Greg has signed that form. He signed something,
A
we paid him
reimbursement?
mileage. We have one, because I remember he had to write down his miles before he got paid for that, last
Okay,
year.
so I guess we need to find with the original receipt. And then it's.
Because we've done the same thing with team two.
The employee should obtain prior. So this is the one, I don't know how we're gonna reword this, however, each employee should incur, before the employee incurs any out-of-pocket expenses, this is in case you know they need to go get something. The employee should obtain the prior approval of the mayor, if at all possible.
Supervisor. I guess supervisor. It's broader.
Well, that's what I was kind of getting at, because instances,
And it's if at all possible also.
if at all possible. Yeah. Employees, okay, that was all I had on that page.
And I remember actually, Rob telling Greg that he had to fill that out to get reimbursed for the mileage.
So I guess we need to find or make, maybe even just make up a form that's, that you have in there, so when they bring their receipts, you just flip it to and the guy sign it. That way, we're covered.
Yeah, because that's like right now, we're reimbursing Tim for mileage on his pickup and
Yeah.
stuff, when he goes and gets chlorine and what have you.
Okay, I had nothing for 16,
No.
17, nothing to report.
We didn't have the general telephone use, we don't have to worry about that.
No, that's using the phone.
City.
City phone.
What are we doing about smoking?
We aren't, it's prohibited inside in the rooms. And that's been a lot, that's like forever. Why you want to let them smoke?
And within city vehicles.
Well, that's what I'm saying, what are we gonna do to enforce this?
I don't know. Are you gonna run around and follow them? All you can say is don't do it, and unless, there's been a complaint. I'm on 18. So under public records and records retention. God, I wish I could write and read this out. Request. Request. Okay, down here under public records, they talk about most records are available for inspection. It says employees must comply with the city's public records request policy. I know that in the years past, when we've had a lot of public records requests, we made it where they had to fill out a form and the city recorder had 10 days to respond. Just because, so they didn't have to drop everything at that moment.
Yeah.
So I suggested to add, employees must comply with the city's public records request policy within 10 days of a public records request form being submitted. That's my suggestion, so.
10 working days?
Yeah. I mean, we can make it shorter. That's just what I know it used to be.
Well, yeah, it depends on what's happening in the
Well,
office.
that's what I mean, if it's really busy like we are right now with all these grants and all this stuff, the last thing you want to do is drop everything when we're working on all this time sensitive stuff.
Okay.
But you want to make sure that it's a working day.
Working, yeah.
Business.
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 Within 10 business days.
Where's my?
Does that work for all of you?
Yes.
Within 10 business days of a. And I guess again, request form. I don't know, I mean, I know there was a form. Maybe, okay, so we're gonna have a lot of forms to look at one of these days at council, because
Yeah.
it's the only way to keep things standardized. Okay, then I went to page 19. Oh, on page 9, in inclement weather, it says the city may close for all or part of a regularly scheduled workday. The mayor will make the decision as to whether an emergency exists and will endeavor. They're talking about if we have to have emergency closings. I think it should be the mayor / maybe counselor, because I mean, if one isn't there, you don't want to wait for. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel. I mean, you have that.
Yes. Yeah. You gotta have one or the other. One or
Supervisor.
mayor or council.
Mayor or counselor.
You want to put council or supervisor?
Council.
Counselor, this is saying, tornadoes coming and we need to close the office. Somebody needs to make the decision until they go home. So. And then this is all whistleblower, animal policy. I skipped to page 21. I don't know where you have, Marcia.
I'm on 22. I didn't see.
Okay, let's see, personal. Okay, that's, I take some of the stuff myself, so. Okay, 22, all kinds of stickies.
Yeah, my stickies down the cell phone.
Oh, well, I have one, in background screening and medical records, they talk about we have access protected folders, employees' medical records or confidential, all this access protected files. I still think that we need to address at some point getting a new filing cabinet that nobody's had access to, so we start out new.
Locked.
Yes, we need a new locked filing cabinet. And we know where the keys are, who's the keys, because.
Tall one, desk size.
No, I think we just need a two-door.
Two-door.
Yeah, two-door. Because we don't have a lot of records, but I mean, we should have our personnel files, because it even talks, some of this stuff is supposed to be kept separate of the personnel files even. So we need to get in compliance there.
Speed, can I make it back up?
Yeah.
Can we go back over here?
Well, just wait a minute. Are we okay? We'll take to council and get a new permit.
Yeah.
So look, and Renee can
They're not that-
start doing the searching.
Yeah.
They ain't that expensive.
No,
No,
they're not.
but,
Yeah,
well, no, they aren't, so I guess we can. Where do you want to go back to?
Page 19, where it says animal population.
Yeah,
Are we good with it where it talks about servicing, working, and visiting animals? Are we good with this?
well,
Because,
what do you mean by visiting?
well, like Tim does, he brings Molly, or Millie in here, and Millie leaves, it's not.
Well, sometimes you also gotta realize it could be 110 degrees out and somebody's coming in to sign up for new service and has no.
Well,
Well, I know Larry's been in here. And Larry. Skips
Skip?
out.
Oh,
You know, if he comes in to pay his water bill, he comes in, but
I'm okay with this. I mean, unless you have a biter.
right, well, the fighters usually ain't coming through the door. But I just wanted,
It says that you-
wanted to make sure that this was okay, because it's been brought up before that
Yeah.
we ain't supposed to have.
Well,
They're saying that there's no
because
animals allowed,
A
period,
dog with biter.
but it says that we can.
Well, it also has to have a good disposition or something that said in here.
Clean, groomed, and healthy condition without fleas.
Without
Does it
fleas.
really have fleas?
You know, does your dog have fleas? I don't think there is any hens out there. But my dog don't have fleas.
Okay, no ticks.
it
Okay,
gets too cold.
Ticks. Can we go back to 22 now?
we're on 20.
So
Well, it addresses it if it creates a disturbance, poses a health or safety risk.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna get a new file cabinet. Oh, then we go city cell phone use.
Yeah, I got that one.
Under general, the first thing I did is under general, I took out employees are allowed to bring, are allowed. Okay, employees are allowed to bring cell phones to work. I said, I read it not. Never mind. It's getting punchy. During working hours. Okay, that one was okay. What did you have? Oh, down here it says cell phone, city provided, utility manager, flea market manager. Take flea market manager out, we don't have one of those. We'll have cell phones provided by the city, and these phones will be for city business use only. I put mayor in place of flea market manager.
But then that's saying that you've got to get Tim or Jeff a phone.
If you say the city may
Okay. We put the city.
provide,
We tried, we didn't want one, city. May provide. Utility manager and mayor. Wait, the city may provide and mayor cell phones. Cell phones, and these phones will be for city business use only. Is that what we want to do?
Mhm.
Okay,
So flea market, we're gonna put mayor.
yeah. Did you have anything tagged? Okay. Well, I know you had one that was all tagged up.
yeah, that one.
Marcia, anything else?
No, that's what I was gonna try to address that one.
And then I went to 26, 27, 25, I went to 26. Oh, yes, my little pet peeve here. Pre-employment drug testing. I think this was discontinued a long time ago, mandatory.
Mhm.
Because we used to do it, it was a lot of fun. And we quit. Because it got too expensive, you'd have to send them out to labs, somebody'd have to be there to witness it. I mean, it was
I've had 4 of them. They even sent me all the way from Bend to Portland to have one. and
not
I had-
recently though, have you?
No,
No,
it's
we,
been 10 years since I've had.
yeah, we used to do it in the office and then have to send stuff out to the labs. I think this is obsolete just to do it arbitrarily. Because we don't have a contract with the lab, we don't have the kits, you know, they used to send out kits.
Can you put it in pre-employment at any time the city may request,
Yeah, I think so.
and then just leave it at that, may request,
But the thing is though, is now you're discriminating.
Now somebody has a drug problem. Well, this,
That's discriminating. Same
No.
thing as if you have a criminal problem.
well, it's based, the
legal.
criminal one, it was on a a basis, if you said you had a criminal, it's on a case-by-case basis. In other words, we would just, depends on what you did. Well, see, down here farther, it said it would be a condition of employment for all employees to submit. See, all this condition, this has to be changed. This part where if you show up impaired, where it says under general procedures, employee reporting to a visibly impaired, next to a consult, the employee can be sent to a lab to get drug to a medical facility to be tested. That is more reasonable.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because this employee drug testing right here, because I guarantee you that if, hypothetically, if one of the boys was out and something happened because they were on drugs or on alcohol and rats and hurt or killed somebody,
Well, that's in here.
then that's here.
But but what I'm saying is the mandatory for pre-employment is, I don't think,
You want to take the pre-employment part out.
but we have,
Totally,
I would, unless somebody can say they can, I mean, like
so
I
just draw
said,
next to
you have to have
that.
somebody that's knowledgeable, you have to have kits, and you have to have a lab that you have a contract with. And most agencies have not, or have quit doing that because of the expense and ability to do it.
Yeah, I think DMV used to do it when Sherry worked there, and then they quit doing it as a pre-hire.
Yeah,
But the thing is, though, they still have it set up to where if there's an incident,
and that's what this says, the general procedures, if somebody comes in and, you tell us something wrong, then we have the options. If in the opinion of the mayor, the employees considered impaired, a drug test may be required. Employee can be sent home or taken to a medical facility or whatever to do to,
so you gotta take out the his and hers and put it in.
yeah. And then under employee drug testing, it's not gonna be it says it will be a condition of employment for employees to submit to a drug testing, that's out. Oh, then there's these. Well, it is a condition of employment for all employees to submit to a drug testing when there is a reasonable suspicion to believe that the employee is using illegal drugs. Reasonable suspicion, then it says obfuscated drug use, abnormal conduct, the report of drug use by a reliable and credible source. So this sets it out, from general
So-
procedures down
It's
is
good.
good, it's the current employees. But again, somebody would have to transport them to the hospital and get their blood taken.
Or we have to set it up to where,
Yeah.
and you can go into, what's the name of that?
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Anyway, but I think the pre-drug thing needs to come out.
Okay.
And then we would just have, so this would be titled, this would be, it would just be general procedures, drug testing.
Can't leave it the same. Just take out the pre.
there's no drug thing on there.
We'll
Can't you
see.
Just take out the pre.
Oh, yeah,
Just take the pre out and just leave the rest.
yeah, but we're taking that whole thing out.
We took this all
Yeah,
out.
so now
But
we're
this,
going down to
but
general.
this title should go right here.
Okay,
General
we can do, it would just be employment drug testing, okay.
and safety sensitive positions.
Okay. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
How about mayor in that section?
Oh, where was that? Okay,
All over in there.
okay, let's see, this is if employee reports impaired, if possible, the mayor will first seek the city council's opinion to confirm the employee's status.
So do you want to just do supervisor and all of that?
Yeah, let's just do that. That makes it more generic.
So we take the super, mayor out, put
The
supervisor.
supervisor, yeah. Because it makes it too restrictive.
Well, at some point, we may get high tech and have a city manager,
Yeah,
so that would be a supervisor.
Then they can revise the board.
well, no, but I mean, that's still supervisory still.
Well, look how long it's taken us to get here. So, yeah. So everywhere mayor is, it's gonna be a
Be
supervisor.
How did I mark this? Employees are asked to report. Oh, see? Oh, on page 28.
Oh, you done? The
I
27?
don't have anything on 27.
And
So.
I know on 27.
Wait, no.
What about the alcohol and drug use?
When alcohol and drug use tested with applicants and places. Yeah, I believe that the same, because we might test somebody if we have a question on them. But this one, who's this? Okay, on page 28, employees are asked to report when they. This is- The city reserves the right subject to applicants who are given a conditional offer in the city. See, this talks about applicants again. So under, on 28, down at the bottom, it says, in order to implement this policy, the city reserves the right to, and it says, subject applicants who are given a conditional offer of employment in a safety-sensitive position to a drug and alcohol test. So we're back to dealing with applicants again.
So we need to get rid of it.
Yeah, but then leave test employees reasonably suspected for use of drugs and discipline and discharge. So we want to deal with current employees. And this is where it says, Charlie, test employees after an accident.
Oh,
Down at the bottom.
so that one's going to stay, but you
Yeah.
gotta take the beginning of
The
that.
first bullet is gone?
Yeah, we're just gonna take the first bullet where it's subject applicants who are given a conditional offer of employment in a safety-sensitive position to a drug and alcohol test. I'm gonna take that one sentence out.
Because
Because it's an applicant, they're applicants and under conditional use. We're gonna drug test any current employees if they have issues. You're thinking, go ahead.
well, I was just thinking, because what this applies to is like if we were to hire somebody to come and run the backhoe, and that's what we were, or the grader. You know, because that would be a safety.
I know, but
They're bonded.
And or turn it around
But how-
and run to pick up the baker,
how are we going to drug test him?
you know.
He's bonded and insured.
Yeah, I mean,
He got, whoever we hire
Oh,
for the
no,
city.
no, I'm talking about if we hire an employee, or we were looking to hire an employee, and we're getting ready to put them in a employment into a safety sensitive, somebody that's gonna be working around the public. Another one, well, a good one would be is putting somebody in the water truck during flea market, you're putting them out there in the middle of the public. And if you're gonna hire somebody, it's saying that you could send them in and have them drug tested just to make sure. But at the same time, though, it comes down below that, and it's because it does say that we test employees after an accident.
yeah,
So
well,
you could take the first, I guess you're right. Linda,
we can
take
test
this-
employees if we suspect them of any violations, and we can discipline them
right.
after, if it, so I
Take
just,
that first one out.
yeah, because it's they're saying applicants, and that means somebody, again, a hire. I
Okay.
just, maybe well, it's just my. Oh, personal property. Oh, and then on the next page, I wanted to add,
Which one?
page 29. We're talking about employees are asked to. It's talking about the city has the right to conduct searches of city property or employees personal property. If we think there's drug abuse or anything. And I just wanted to add in that first sentence where it says, in order to enforce this policy, the city reserves the right to conduct searches of city property or employees and or employees' personal property on city property. In other words, we aren't going to their house to look at their personal property.
No, the thing is, those what it would be is like a lunchbox.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, or their personal right to conduct searches of city property or employees'
Personal property on city property.
So if they're in the truck or they're in here, sitting up at the park, it's, because this sounds like, to me, this sounds like if I go to their house.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And, we don't have that right.
Well, the thing is, those personal property would be your lunchbox.
Yeah.
Your car that we drove to work, it would be
Yeah.
like Renee, she's parked out here.
Yeah.
And if we suspected it, we
Yeah.
have the right
Yeah.
to search it, but it still sits on public property or
on city
city property.
Yeah, I just want to be sure, because this to me, like, first thing I thought is, well, we can't go to their house. It's, yeah. So, then the fun one.
You still on 20 now?
Yeah, if you want me, I am.
I am.
Okay, I forgot.
This handbook is not, should not be interpreted to be an insurance promise or guarantee of an obligation to provide such benefits, except as otherwise provided in this handbook. Benefits provided, this handbook are provided only to regular full-time employees.
Okay.
I don't know why, but it just struck me as
This handbook is not, it should not be interpreted to be.
an insurance promise guarantee.
Right, so we're not giving them, we're not saying we will give them benefits. How did you want that changed? This handbook, benefits provided in this handbook. Right. Well, it's, except as otherwise provided, this handbook provided.
Right, this handbook, benefits provided in this handbook are provided only to regular full-time employees, thanks. But I think some of this stuff pertains to part-time employees.
Well, yeah, that's.
No, this is just the benefits section.
This is the benefits.
Benefits section.
And no part-time employees get benefits.
Okay.
Because it says here somewhere. It says somewhere in this handbook that they don't.
Okay, well, that answers that question, yeah. Okay, all it is under the benefits.
So then we have,
So we did that in?
yeah, we have paid holidays.
And they can, the way I understand it is they can take any two of those and make them a floater,
Yeah.
correct?
It says 2 floating holidays are allowed in lieu of an identified. So if they want to take Labor Day, some other day, they can.
That's nice.
But
Have you guys done that?
I didn't know the day after Thanksgiving is a holiday.
Well, it isn't, but it is here for some reason.
I saw that as like.
No, I got that day off, but had to go the next day,
Yeah, if it was on, yeah, it's always on Thursday and it always sucked if you had to go back to work on
Friday, that's where
But I
everybody took
take
their
8
vacations.
hours leave.
Yeah, everybody did that, they took 8 hours.
Did they add some
No,
other
no.
holidays?
No,
Yeah,
no.
Juneteenth.
Huh?
Oh, God, I forgot that. Juneteenth.
That is a holiday, really?
Yes, it's a federal holiday.
June 10th?
Juneteenth.
It's the 19th.
19th.
Juneteenth, why?
It's a political holiday.
It's a politically correct holiday.
It's like a floater to me.
We'll do a floating holiday. We're doing good holidays. So the thing is though, is now, because we're saying that they can take this handbook or the floating holiday, are we saying that it has to be done within the pay period? Or not?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just,
I'm just
no,
asking because,
It's
you
just,
know,
you know,
we put comp time as,
yeah, this is something different. It's like President's Day. And, Tim wants to go somewhere and Jeff's here, so Tim can just take it a different day.
Well, I think
But,
I guess my big question is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 11, now there's 12. We have 12 days, and if nobody takes their holiday, and everybody says I'm on it, so they can actually take 12 days in a row?
no.
You're only allowed 2.
They're allowed 2 floating days.
Oh,
So only 2.
They can only take 2 of
So
those days.
I can take President's Day and Veterans Day and say I'm gonna take it a different day, or I wanna add it
We're gonna
to.
let them back to back.
Because like Veterans Day can be in the middle of the week, so I'm gonna take Veterans Day on Friday.
Okay. But the thing is, those are you gonna let them go back to back with?
Why not?
I mean, it's a day we have to pay them anyway, so let's let them go whenever they want.
Yeah, because when I was talking to them, I says, if it was me, for the ones that fall in the middle of the week, I would want to take the floating holiday at the end of the week. It gives me a 3-day weekend.
The only thing is, it just has to be, we have to approve that they take the floating day, which I'm sure it says in here.
Well, my thought on this is the guys have to work every holiday regardless.
Yeah,
So, or one of them has to work.
yeah.
So then, well, never mind.
Well, they have to
Well,
work,
I-
just, they
So
have to
then-
work to check the water and the sewer.
Well,
Right, so then can they
The thing-
take that time, instead of, okay, New Year's Day is on Wednesday and Jeff works. But I guess if he's only checking water and sewer, it's only 2 or 3 hours or whatever.
The thing
Sorry,
is,
never
though,
mind.
is on that behalf, because that was my, a concern that Renee's reminding me of now.
Well, he can take it the next day.
No, the thing is, though, hold on here, because with that being said, if it's happening within whatever holidays they want, whatever two, and they decide, and it does end up on in other words, it lands in the middle of the week. So they say, they come check the water, and they do their thing. Thing is, though, are we gonna give them a whole day, or are we just gonna give them 3 hours? Because they're not working, normally they would be working a full day during the week. That is a full day schedule,
What do we pay
But-
now on weekends? We pay for 3 hours.
but that's what I'm saying, are we only gonna give them a 3 hour?
If he's gonna want to work the
Off-time.
whole day.
Because it is a regular work day.
Well, does this have to
Right, but
alternate?
that's where the whole holiday, 40 hours, holiday doesn't count towards your 40 hours. That's where that comes in. So you're safe.
Perfect. I just wanted to clarify. What else you got? You're doing good. Well, we got 6 more pages to go.
Well, vacation, I don't have a problem with. They do
So I
sick
just-
leave.
I mean, we're going to leave the day after Thanksgiving as a holiday. I guess we are, okay. 1, 2, 3.
It's been that way since
Okay.
I've lived here, but
Okay.
I don't know why.
So we're gonna add June, it was June 19th, you said, Juneteenth.
Yeah, Juneteenth.
That is actually federal. Huh?
Mhm.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Well, the
So
thing-
all of these are federal.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, because
But the thing
there's
is
a
on-
lot of places that aren't, they don't use them as holidays.
But the thing is, those Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving Day and the day after, that's the only part of the holiday that we're doing. We're not trying to say that it's a 4-day weekend, because everybody knows Thanksgiving's on Thursday.
Yeah.
So you got Thursday, Friday,
Like I said,
Saturday, Sunday.
I guess, we're just giving them that extra day.
Okay,
We're nice.
I have to ask the stupid
Because we're
question
nice
again.
people.
We're nice. We're not making them take 8 hours.
How come we don't get day before Christmas as a holiday?
I don't know. Because you're home by Christmas Eve.
Feds used to give to you once a month. Okay, then,
So we're good on
where did I
vacation?
underline this? 10 hours?
So we're good now. 31.
Oh, yes. I got notes all over this, page 31. Let's see. vacation.
Mhm.
I was just, let's see, first it says any vacation that you take, employees not allowed to pay in lieu of time. Okay, I put, has, because it says they have to take their vacation the year of their anniversary year.
So if they're hired in June, they go from June to June. If they're hired in May, it's May to May.
And,
Who keeps track? Rob keeps track of that?
well, because I had put, I put in here, because it didn't say somewhere they have to use the hours within the same year.
Yes, and I disagree with that.
I put something that blank, a number, may be accrued,
Well,
may
actually,
be carried over to the next year, but anything excess over that amount will be lost.
yeah.
So that's the way, remember, like if you have
That gets into that use or lose.
usually, but let's say because what you get, the first year you get 40 hours, the second, or 40 hours of leave. So if you said that every year you could carry over 80 hours, somebody did not take their leave, or you carried over 50 hours, you wouldn't lose that, you would carry that amount over.
You can carry it over and over and over until the day you
As long
quit.
as you don't get, if you have 60 hours then and you don't use it, you'll lose your.
So you're saying they've accumulated 20 or 40 hours, 40 hours.
Mhm.
They can only keep the 40 hours on the books.
It's like we could accrue 240 hours a year. And come December, if I have 250 hours, I'm gonna lose that 10 hours. But that 240 goes over, so you can continue to carry that.
So we have to have a set amount of what they carry.
Well, that's what I put. Employee may carry, X amount of hours. X amount of hours may be carried over to the next year. Excess of these hours will use or lose.
Well, that's kind of what this,
Is that
an
what it says?
employee fails to take their earned vacation time before the employee's anniversary date.
Yeah.
In violation of the policy, the employees will not earn any further vacation until unused vacation has been taken. That's in here.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems cumbersome. Because, so in other words, you could go into the next year and have 80 hours of leave time that you could use. Is the way the accrue. See, that's the way the accrue is. Okay, I just didn't go on vacation. I worked every day. And so I take 40 hours over, so that next year I've got 80 hours to use. So, but I can still carry that 40 hours for the next, it can just keep going. But
you gotta use the one
you
you
have to
earn
use the
in.
40, whatever number you want to put in there. To me, it's kind of, there's just situations where you can't use all that leave and then you lose it.
Or you only have limited sick leave and you have a surgery coming
Yeah.
up, so you want to accrue so many hours of vacation
Yeah.
in case you do get sick.
Now,
Seeming
we're talking about an hour
Mhm.
ordeal. Seeing as they get paid for it,
Yeah.
the Renee gets comp time, but like the guys,
She gets vacation.
This is vacation. This is vacation time only. This is
that's
vacation time.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, is when because the vacation time accrues off of 40 hours. Well, if you work a 50-hour week, I accrued an extra 10 hours for that week. See what I'm saying?
No, Joe. This is what you did. Okay. No. Okay. The first year you earned 40 hours of vacation time. No, that's it. You earned 40 hours of vacation time
Right.
that you were supposed to use in that year. But as a new employee, if you only use 20 of it, you can carry that 20 over into the next year instead of losing it. That's the way it's written now.
So then when you get the other 40,
Then you have 60 hours the next year. So you're collecting your.
You accrued 60 hours.
So like Renee, after 2 years of being, or 2 years, she gets 80 hours, in 2 years or more, less than 5, you get 80 hours of vacation time. So, depending on, if we say you can accrue for only 40 hours, then she has to use 40 hours this year or she loses it. But she can take 40 hours into the next year. So what it is, it's just we set a limit of how many hours you can move forward.
You can carry over.
We force them, because when you get to where you're earning 120 to 160 hours of vacation time, if you're a busy office, you may not be able to use all that. And so you don't want, it's not fair for them to not use it and lose it.
And it's a hardship on the small city if they've accrued 100,
So
couple
something-
hundred hours of vacation time and quit.
But-
We have to pay them for the vacation
If
time,
we're
which
gonna
is a
let that
big
happen,
part.
then we're gonna let that occur and
I
we can
think
do the
that
rollover,
says you
then
can't.
my question
Yeah, it's
is,
down here.
do we need to put in somewhere where all of that time ain't, you just can't take it all at one time?
Well,
Because
no,
it comes back to that we
it's in
have,
here, it's right in here. You have to get approval, where was it? To take your a
right,
vacation must be taken in a manner that will not materially unreasonably interfere with the city's operations. So you have to get approval, and so if Renee knows she wants to go to Mexico, she's gonna say, these are the dates that I want to be gone, and, I'm gonna be taking.
but yeah, but my thing is though, is if she has accumulated, however,
Yeah,
for 80 hours,
yeah,
Still has to be approved.
it
it
still has
still has to be
approved.
approved, but the
It's
thing is, we're gonna give it to her all the time.
Well,
Because the reason why she accrued that much is because she couldn't take it before, because we're such a small place, that's what we're saying, right?
Well, yeah, and a lot of people, like they say, something's coming up, or, it's amazing what comes up
I
that,
mean, 80 hours is only 2 weeks.
that's what I say. If she puts in and she wants to go on a 2-week vacation, we have to look, it's our obligation to look and see and make arrangements for her. Again, if she wants to go to Mexico for 2 weeks on a family vacation,
I just wanted to make sure.
it's on our backs to try to accommodate something.
But it's also upon approval, and if that 2 weeks, there's a council meeting or something like that, and you guys are like, you can't, we'll give you 10 days, or we'll give you 1 week, or whatever, but you need to be here for that council meeting, so it's still gonna be up to you guys to approve it.
I just don't like this that, there's a chance that they can lose their vacation. And we're small enough that, it's not fair.
Right.
And I just wanted to reword this so we could say, okay, you can, and it can be only 20 hours. We can say you can only carry 20 hours over every year, and you have to use the other 20, 40, or 60 before you lose it.
And the other aspect too, which I'm not too keen on, is vacation time doesn't roll into hourly wage, right?
No.
In other words, you can't take the vacation. I'm stuck here, I can't go nowhere, so I want my 80 hours in.
Yeah, it says,
Earned vacation must be taken, employees are not entitled to pay in lieu of taking time off for vacation. They will not be paid, employees will be paid, the only time they're paid for unused vacation, employees will be paid for all earned but unused vacation benefits upon termination of employment.
So in other
That's
words-
why you have a limit on
as to
how
what
much
you
you
can
can
roll over.
accrue.
Okay.
Because if you end up, you have 240 hours, then we have to pay it, but if we say you only can carry 20, 30, or so many hours, you're not going to have,
Right.
it's when you get down to being here for 10 years or more, and you're getting 160 hours of vacation time, if they leave at the end of, that, you can't get away, it's just the way it is.
Is there a way you can say, I hate them having just to carry over 20 hours, and a lot of people go on a vacation for a week, 10 days.
Well, I'm just throwing
So
numbers.
from the first start of employment to the first increase in vacation, which is supposed to 80 hours, correct, after 5 years?
Yeah,
So in those few years, they can carry 40 hours over. But when they get to the higher, then they're still stuck. They can only carry 40 hours.
That's what I was getting at, is
Mhm.
if we put in,
So that still gives them 2 weeks to carry over.
yeah. And then.
And that supplements this 6 days of sick leave.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
if they don't
it
have
really
sick leave,
does.
they take vacation.
Yeah, I mean, look at the, you know, with COVID and stuff, some people, you know, been sick for 2 or 3 weeks, and if they haven't accrued any sick leave, you know,
They're in
it's
trouble.
difficult.
Well, it's unpaid. Yeah, they wind
But
up
I mean,
being
it's
on
not,
unpaid.
you know, so I'd like to reword this portion some way, and just make it on, and make it on a calendar year? No.
So, well, it's hard though,
I know,
because
'cause-
you know, if you hire somebody in September,
Okay,
January, he's already got a week's vacation. So,
If you do a calendar year, but if you do it on a year per hire,
it's anniversary.
it's an anniversary
and
year.
vacation time must be used an anniversary year after which it is earned. Must be used.
And I guarantee you, the employees are going to know.
And may not be carried over. So what we want to do, because it says,
If an employee fails to take his or her earned vacation time for their employees have
vacations not does not accrue between employment anniversary dates. Vacation does not accrue between employment, and may not be taken until it's earned. Vacation time must be used, no, we want to take that part out.
So the anniversary, the employee may only carry over 40 hours
Yeah, that's.
per year,
40 hours,
right?
yeah, 40 hours maybe.
Or however many you guys,
40 hours
20.
maybe carried over to the next year, excess, just put it, we need to put in there, excess hours or unused excess hours. Unused hours over 40 will be in a user lose status. So that means they have to use it or they, something like that.
so I didn't get that. Okay, so if an employee fails to take their earned vacation time before the employee's anniversary date, that's where you're gonna plug that in.
No, I think that's vacation time must be used. This is just crazy.
Well, it doesn't say- it
It's too
doesn't-
wordy.
It
Yeah,
doesn't,
that's why I say there's gotta be some way to simplify this, because, so that people really understand.
the thing is though, because it says you must use your 2 week prior to your fourth, that'd be 4 years. You have to use 2 weeks prior to the anniversary date.
But if they can carry over.
If employees fail to, this is policy, employees will, it doesn't say you lose it, but you won't earn any more.
Well, yeah, I don't understand that either, because.
That pushes you into your use or lose.
User lose, yeah, and that.
Well,
but
I
that's what
guarantee you,
mean.
you better use your stuff within 4 years, I tell you. And that says that you only have to use 2 weeks
Mhm.
prior to your fourth anniversary. I mean, for crying out loud.
Well,
I mean, if you ain't gonna
it's
use
just-
it, you ain't gonna use it.
To me, it's just kind of wordy, I mean, it's just,
I don't like, yeah, you
But-
gotta read it 5 times to figure it out.
But it totally makes sense, and so then at this point, I think that vacation you shouldn't be able to carry over, because you do get quite a bit of vacation.
So up to the 5th year where you start accruing more vacation, so up to the 5th year, you can carry over. But once you get to the 5th year, it's use it. You use that all or you won't accrue. And then from
It doesn't
5th
say
year
you have
on,
to-
you don't accrue nothing
It doesn't
because
say
you get a lot.
It doesn't say you have to use it all, you don't have to use 2 weeks of it to accommodate more. And
Well,
it doesn't say how many more that you can do, so, in other words, you got the 4th year coming, I use my 2 weeks vacation before my 4th year.
But that was just
Then
a
I
for
get to
example.
accumulate, so I get to accumulate a whole nother year
But that
on
just
top
is
of
an
the 4 that I got.
It was just an example.
Yeah.
We just set it as an example, because it's first and second, you get 40 hours.
First 40, second 80.
Okay, second 80.
Yeah, 2, 3, and 4 is 80. 5 is 120. So 1 is 40, 2, 3, and 4 is 80. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is 120, and then 10 and on is 160. So to me, that's a ton of vacation.
Yeah, I still think 40 should be a max on the carry.
Oh, yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is a lot of vacation time.
It is, and so that's why I'm saying it should be fine to be in the user lose, because like I said, school district, we could carry over as many sick days as we wanted, but we could not carry over vacation. We had 4 days that we could carry over vacation, that's it.
Yeah, but like I say, well, it's just, being able to carry some over is handy, because there's always instances where you need, like, family problems, whatever. I mean,
Bereavement,
yeah,
that isn't immediate.
so we just need to know how we want to word this. What we want to do. I think we can say on this one. So,
It's gonna take some thinking on just that one space.
say vacation time must be used in the anniversary, which it is, and we have to carry over past employees. So, it says vacation time must be used in the anniversary year, which that's after which it is earned. And may not be carried over past the next anniversary date. Is that where we're gonna change?
Yeah, I'll get rid of it.
Okay,
That whole sentence, vacation time must be used in the anniversary, I wanna get rid of all that.
okay.
Um,
So what do you wanna put in place?
And then you have to get rid of the example, because the
Yeah,
example
for
explains
example,
that.
The example, we don't need an example. Okay.
So the first year, they don't have to take any vacation, the second year, they get 40 hours. So no more than 40 hours during employment can be carried over, it goes into use it or lose its status.
I'll take her, okay, so all this really, so, vacation time, vacation does not include community, did it? It may not be taken into- Vacation time,
Okay, so if an employee fails to take his or her earned vacation time before the employee's vacation date, 40 hours may be rolled to the following year. And then the rest of that goes away.
And the vacation does not occur between employment anniversary dates, I don't even like it that. On the employee's anniversary date, they are awarded their vacation.
Right, but what it's saying is, I have to work
Yeah,
1 year before, and then I get loaded, so it loads behind instead of preloads.
so 40 hours may be accrued. And then we need to, I think we just need to be sure that we, in there, we state that next year, any excess over 40 hours will be in user leave status, so that they know they can't just keep rolling it. I mean, it seems self-explanatory, but, we want to make sure to spell it out. And see here, Charlie, it says employees that want to go take their leave, they have to give 2 weeks notice to the city. So that helps. It has to be approved.
Okay, so how does this sound? If an employee fails to take their earned vacation time before the employee's anniversary date, 40 hours may be rolled forward. The employee will not earn any further vacation until the unused vacation is taken. No, never mind.
So I'm thinking, so they get 40 hours and they don't take it. So we go into the next anniversary date. So we're saying we aren't gonna earn any more hours until.
Yeah, that's why I just said, no, never mind.
Oh, yeah.
See, no, because what we wanna say is they're going to earn their 40 hours. If they do not take their 40 hours that first year, they can roll it.
Or you can just say, if they do an annual, before the employee's annual date, 40 hours maximum may be rolled forward,
Roll, yeah.
and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is though, to me, it would be, because we're not working off of the hour we worked. So therefore, if you roll, in other words, I'm busy this year, even though I earned it, I'm gonna roll it into next year because I ain't got time to take vacation.
Yeah.
But I got time to take it now, say we take it in June. As soon as I take my 40 hours of vacation time, at the end of that year, I still should have 40 hours worth
Should
of
have
vacation
enough
time.
40, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not saying that you have to work so many hours to accumulate this. All we're saying is you gotta be a full-time employee.
Yeah, we're saying you can carry up to 40 hours over year to year, so,
40 hours extra,
extra. Yeah.
above your
Yeah. You earn 40
extra,
hours,
not the regular.
you
So
can,
therefore, then it would be, the first year your work is for free. So the second year, you're saying we take that 40 hours and the 40 hours you accumulate and roll it into the next year. So that would be 80 hours starting on the third year. Correct?
Okay, so let's just, okay, so this year, in July,
Right.
or June, the three of us will get 80 hours loaded. So I only use 40. So I can roll that other 40, so then in June of next year, I get my 80 plus the 40 I didn't use.
So can we simplify it and say, at no time during your employment can you have more than 80 hours accrued vacation time on the books? Or you will not earn
Makes
any
sense.
more?
That makes sense.
That's 2 weeks.
it's 2 weeks.
So even the first year, they don't take it. The second year, so they get carried 40 over to their second anniversary date, they still have 80. But they decide the second year, they don't want to take vacation either.
Well,
The
that's what I
third
said,
year, they're, no, you gotta use some of
Well, that's
that,
what
you
I
can't
said.
carry more.
40, you can get 40 hours, can be carried over. But any excess over that 40 hours has to be used the next year, or you lose it. Because we're saying all you can carry is 40 hours extra every year. So if you have 40 hours and you earn 40 hours,
That's 80 hours.
you better use at least 40 of them, because otherwise you're gonna be in a use or lose, and you will lose that time.
So basically, regardless of what you earn, you can only carry over 1 week of vacation through the whole process.
I mean, and that's whatever we want to set. I mean,
Just,
It doesn't have to be 40, it could be 20.
it could be 20 or it could be 50, it's just telling
the
them.
max that you can carry over on any year to add to your cumulative year is 40 hours.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna work and I'm up to 120 hours, but I've got 40 hours sitting from the last year,
Mhm. You're gonna use
I
it.
have to use that 40 hours or I'm not gonna get my 120.
So you want to base it off of the 40 because. that's
Well,
only-
whatever number, we're just using 1 week, that's 1 week.
Yeah, that's 40 hours because this stupid thing here says,
Yeah, by the time you get to the third, fourth, and fifth year, you got a lot of weeks.
well, like I said, because the second year you're putting it,
That's already 2 weeks in the
you
second
got
year.
80 hours there, and if you're saying that the first year that you didn't use, say you only use 20 out of your 40,
You got 3
so
weeks.
that you're, well, you got 2.5 weeks. Because you're only getting 20, I used 20, but I got 20 left over from the first year that I rolled over. Well, by the second year, I've got 80 hours coming. So that would be 20 hours added to the 80.
Well, we just
So that's
have-
100 hours.
What does
So I
the
got-
CIS say? Does it
I
say?
think
anything?
we're over here.
Yeah,
I had 40 hours of vacation this year.
Yeah.
And next year I get another 40 hours, I can carry that over.
Right.
Hours. And come the end of my anniversary date,
You better use something.
if I still have 80 hours, I'm gonna lose for you because I'm gonna use or lose.
Well, CIS just has vacation maximum
I
accumulation.
mean, it's just letting people accrue some of their vacation time, so in case of emergencies, they have more. They can use all their leave or they can just carry over 10 hours. Maybe this year we only have 10, you carry 10 extra hours over, and you're good. And then you'll have 50. I mean, it's just very simple.
Theirs is simple. Vacation maximum accumulation. Full-time regular employees may accrue vacation leave to a maximum of number of hours, your option.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Part-time regular benefits eligible employees
That's what I was
may
trying
accrue
to get.
vacation leave to a maximum.
So we'll just insert that, so highlight that
Just
section, and
make
we'll
it-
just
yeah.
insert that into this section.
If the maximum accrual is reached, additional vacation leave will not occur until the leave balance has been brought down below the maximum hours allowed.
Just use that. That's exactly, because,
Do you need
you
highlight?
either get it or you don't get it.
I'm just gonna
Oh, sticky.
Okay, and then we still want to
stick
leave
here.
in, the employees are not entitled to pay.
Well, you gotta come up with the hours. What hours?
I don't know. I mean, I think 40 hours,
20 hours, 40 hours. One
20
one
hours,
week.
20 hours, I don't think is enough for vacation.
Mm-mm.
'Cause that's only, that's,
I would just go 40 hours and just let it, and then people are gonna have a lot of leave to use, if they stay for a long time. And they'll figure it out.
Okay.
But it's, for employees, it's just a good plan to approve some of that for emergencies.
Mhm.
It just really is a smart thing.
So when we get to sick leave, though, I don't like the fact that they get 6 days a year and they have to use it within that calendar year.
see, I think sick days ought to be,
They
Well, I'm
don't
not
get
sick
paid
leave,
for
if
sick
I'm not
leaves
sick-
when
if I'm
they,
not
when they.
What is
if I'm not
CIS?
sick this
Before we
year,
go to sick leave,
okay.
Oh, am I
We're
jumping?
we're okay with requesting and scheduling vacation, and then that's we're okay, so now we're in sick leave. Let's want to be sure we're all, okay.
Okay,
So, next one's is county and must be used.
With the way that the health issue is at the current time, I don't think we should ever lose your sick days. If I'm healthy all this whole year, hallelujah for me, but I think it should go over to next year too.
We used to have a limit on, so we could accrue and roll, but we had a limit on sick leave too. Yeah, it is a problem, because if you say you have to use it, then
they're gonna use
you're
it.
forcing people to have
Well-
a mental health day.
Right, but also, if I'm gonna lose it
That's what I mean.
in December, January,
Uh-huh.
I get sick.
Yeah.
I've got no sick days.
Yeah. No, I think some of it, again, it has to be a limit of how much, but like we said, we just went through COVID and it made it tough on people's sick leave if they didn't have any vacation time.
What if we change this rate of a half a day per month and we made it a day per month?
Oh, that's a lot.
That is a lot, usually.
Yeah, it is, but it isn't, because like I said, though, you can make it roll over for a little bit. Because me, I was in the hospital for 6 days, let alone being at home for the last 3 weeks prior to that.
I've never
And
had
that's
more
just
than
like
I've never had more than 6 days a year for sick leave in any job I've had.
You ain't have to deal with COVID either.
No, but that's the deal, is at that point, you accrue X hours. So you guys have to decide.
That's what we're talking about, the same thing, that you can, again, if you have 24 hours or so many hours of sick time, you can carry X amount over to the next year, like we just did
Right.
the vacation time. That would help people that are healthy. It rewards them that they get to carry their sick leave.
So then if you said no more than, you cannot, in your career, you cannot accumulate
Well, that's
any
why-
more than 30
Well, see,
sick
that's,
days.
Yeah.
well, the thing is what I would say is, if because of this calendar year, right now, it's a half in 6 days. I would say 1 day, maximum of 12 days per calendar year, but it can roll over, so you're only looking,
See, we used to accrue 4 hours
and say you can't,
hourly. In other words, every pay period I get 4 hours of sick leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I don't use it, 4 hours and 4 hours and 4 hours, and, so I'm carrying that over. Again, I can roll it to the next year. And go by how many hours instead of the
Yeah, because
days.
Sherry's had to do this too. So.
I left the post office when I retired with months of sick leave on the
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
I never got paid for it, but. it
No,
was
you don't
there.
get paid for sick leave, but you can, what's it say in CIS?
Well, I haven't got, they're talking about abuse, they're not really. But I do like the one paragraph, if an employee takes more than 3 consecutive scheduled workdays of sick leave, they may require reasonable documentation from the doctor. And I had to prove that, I had to have a
I
doctor's
think it's
notice.
in here, they have it in here.
It is in there.
No, I thought employees of abuse, sick leave, would be something. Repay for use. Oh, yeah, I swear I saw that. So what do you think about going, instead of half a day's going so many hours of pay period, or?
Well, that is, half a day is 4 hours.
4 hours, yeah, duh. And be able to accrue X amount of hours over from year to year. So we
I
can build it
think
up.
I think that's just crazy, because they may have a surgery coming up, they're gonna have to be out for.
So, and it says the employee will not be paid for,
Unused sick days.
right.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how many the employee accrues. We'll
Yeah.
never, we'll never
yeah,
get
It's
it.
not going to affect.
It's not gonna
our
affect this-
bottom line.
Right, until someone has surgery and is out for a month and a half.
Well, then that's the city's problem,
Right.
we have two guys, he's gonna have to work, and at some point down the road, we need a part-time person in the office, and then that would be, as we get bigger.
Well, the thing is though, is if you back up and go back with what Linda was saying and say so much per day,
Well, 4 hours.
Well, it's per hour.
4 hours, if you just change half a day to 4 hours.
so if out of 4 hours, what do you get? 1 day
You get half.
or half a day?
You get 4 hours per,
Month.
per month, so you get 4 hours per month, so that's, how much does that come out to per year?
6
Six.
days.
6 days. And that's what's on here, so 6 days. I think they should be able to accumulate,
We used to get 4 hours pay period.
That'd be each month.
Which is one day a month.
Yeah,
one day a
and I
month.
mean,
Which
like I
here
said,
would be 2,
it's
which
not-
that would make that 12.
it's not gonna affect our bottom line, other than the fact that somebody abuses it, and that's something as small as you are, you would know if something was being abused. But it's for the benefit of the employee, that, if they really have a problem, a family, something.
Oh, there's a problem. There's there's times in there we went to work sick, just caused us more
Yeah,
problems.
because you don't have any sick leave.
Yeah, well, we didn't have backup either, and so it just didn't get better. I like giving them a little more sick leave per year, and maybe let them accumulate two years worth of sick leave. That's quite a bit, really, because you get 12, that's 24. 24
Well, you
days.
just have to say a maximum accrual of X days.
So sick leave accrues at the rate of, do you want to do 1 day per month, 8 hours? Do you want to do by hourly or days? So when you accrue it, you can stay with the
I
hourly.
like the pay period,
Okay, so sick leave accrues
4 hours per pay period.
at the rate of 4 hours per pay period.
That's 8 hours a month.
Yeah.
4 hours
That gets you 12
per
4 hours per pay period.
pay period. And take out,
With a maximum of,
Max carryover.
pay
With a
no,
max.
sick leave accrues at the rate of 4 hours per pay period with a maximum of X. Whatever, are you putting a cap on?
with a maximum.
2 years, 24.
24 days.
Well, you're giving them 12 and 12, so that's 24 days. That's quite a bit on the sick leave.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even a month. So if someone had to have surgery or
Well, then they're
had their
dipping,
appendix explode.
they're dipping into their vacation time then.
So let's see.
And paid or unpaid time off.
Can you just say 30 days? To a maximum of 30 days? Because that's your comparable.
Well, yeah, because people could, I mean, you could, 2 hours here, 2 hours there, you know, I mean, people use it in small allotments, you know. You have to go to the
So the bottom line is, we're just going to double what we already have.
Yes.
4 hours,
So we're still coming out with what I said originally at 12. We
Mhm.
could have saved us 45 minutes
payday,
if we would have
Yes.
just did
No.
it.
Gotta work through this though.
with a maximum
Accrual.
accrual of 30 hours?
30 days.
30 days. I'm going on hours, you guys are going on days, just because the other one is.
Well, then do you want to just change that back to half a day?
4 hours per pay period.
One half.
With accrual of,
So they'll wind up with 12 days a year of sick leave.
So if you take that half and turn it into a 1 and don't change anything, sick day occurs at the rate of 1 day per month. A maximum of 12 days per calendar year. Yes?
Do that.
Okay.
but we have,
And
we have to put in here we can accrue.
then the thing is, though, is on the accrued side, you can only accrue if you're going to say 30 days, which I think that's a good one.
2 years, okay, so sick leave accrues at the rate of
Because
1
that gives you
day
a month of
per month
being ill.
to a maximum of 12 days per calendar year, which can be 2 years, 4 years accrued.
So then you just say maximum total accrual.
Yeah. With the maximum. With a maximum of 30 days accrued.
Maximum total accrual of 30 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
However it sounds.
Okay.
Do you guys want to add that they're taking more than 3 consecutive days to have a doctor's excuse, or
We can do that.
you want to add a couple days? This is a limited access to doctors up here.
Yeah, maximum.
No, but if you're that sick, you're gonna go to the ER.
Yeah. Reasonable documentation.
Well, the thing is, though, is that's like me, when I was sick for 6 days before I went to the doctor.
And reasonable, maybe Charlie going and checking on Tim and saying, yep, he's really sick.
Yeah, it may require reasonable documentation. You just don't call in sick and then we don't hear from you for 16 days, without knowing what's going on, so that we can make other arrangements. Well, it would be under this,
You just highlight it and we'll just insert it.
Insert it right here, yeah. You just have to tell me what you want taken out of this paragraph. It doesn't have to be quite so long.
Yeah, that's what I'm, let's see.
You've got the same one here.
Hmm.
No,
No.
I'm on. Now, wait a minute. Okay, on sick leave here, it says, in this first paragraph, it says, regular full-time employee, this sick leave may also be used for eligible non-exempt employees for healthcare appointments that cannot be scheduled at times during. So what?
That's like a doctor's appointment,
Yeah, but why is it just saying non-exempt? Why is it saying non-exempt? Shouldn't it be any employee?
Yeah, I think any employee.
So it should be, this sick leave may be used by eligible employees for healthcare appointments that cannot be scheduled at times other than the workday. And then you're taking some of the verbiage out of there.
If an employee takes more than 3 consecutive scheduled work days as a sick leave, as sick leave, the council, city council, the city may require reasonable documentation for an approved reason. Reasonable documentation signed by a healthcare provider or documentation for victims of domestic violence, harassment, sexual stalking or something. But maybe just if an employee takes more than 3 consecutive days, scheduled work days of sick leave, to that they may require reasonable documentation.
That sounds, that little,
Yeah.
it makes sense, and it's.
And just
straight
have
to
the
the point.
may.
That may, yeah, that
Yeah.
may,
Well, the
because
thing is though,
if we know they're
are you
sick.
gonna, yeah, but all the thing is though, is reasonable documentation is that
It could be
if
anything.
somebody's sick for 3 days, yeah, and then like Renee says, I looked at Tim and said, yeah, he's pretty sick, you know.
Well,
that's
It's just
reasonable.
documentation.
That's reasonable.
That's reasonable.
That's why we said may, they may have to have documentation. But if we know you're sick and, you know, it's verifiable, then we aren't gonna ask them for
Yeah,
documentation.
you're sick and you're out snowmobiling.
Yeah, then you have a problem.
And, okay,
Okay, so,
mental health, dental and vision, I want dental and vision taken off of that. We can provide medical, but I don't want us to be in a position to have to provide dental and vision.
No, it says in here
yeah,
that it's not, it's at the council's,
regular full-time employees.
yeah.
Fees for, what was it?
It was in here somewhere.
I thought I saw it, it was for these benefits.
Oh, that's back on the benefits thing. This handbook is not and should not be interpreted to be an insurance promise of the guarantee. So that's back on the benefits.
Okay,
And because it says that if the city doesn't have the money, the city doesn't have to provide
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah, because what are we doing right now? Because you pay for your own dental, right?
well, they're all different, but they all have
Or
medical.
No, we pay for, well, I choose to pay for Tim's dental,
Oh, okay.
but the guys have dental vision.
Yeah.
The guys and I have medical,
I thought they had.
dental and
yeah,
vision,
yeah.
but I then choose to pay for Tim's dental, my Tim's dental.
I think that when we looked into this, when we were trying to do the health thing, it wasn't that much for dental and.
It wasn't.
It, you know, it was minute. So what else you got?
I got nothing.
Let's see,
I'm
oh,
sure she's got some.
On page
no,
reviews.
just on
What is
page
on
37,
reviews?
on page 37, which will affect the front two, are we gonna change this date, effective date on this? You see, this one says effective January 13, 2015.
Yeah, we need to change it to whatever date you guys
Right,
put this
so,
into effect.
so we'll put this in effect, I guess, by resolution, and then we'll have you all read it and sign it.
Right. And then when
And have a new
we-
cabinet to put folders in.
And then the thing is, those on that behalf too, we can put it in effective immediately.
Yeah, but we-
Still have to have,
we
yeah,
have
resolution.
a
Well, you
resolution.
do a
And we
resolution.
need to talk, I need to talk to Rob about the
Pay scale.
base scale, so.
So are we good then?
I'd like the COLA and everything done in the pay scale, so we don't have to address this and as time goes by us.
I know.
Well, the thing is, not only that, we don't have to,
It's
we
not-
don't have to worry about the employees when
Are
we're
you
doing
done?
the
Are you
evaluation.
adjourning?
Oh, it is now
5:00?
5:09 and, we're ready.
Perfect.
I mean, I just,
Yeah, so I have on the outside of my thing that says employees pay 57.4% of our dental.
And then,
So
and then